everybody can make sure that their phones or computers or tablets are muted, that will be super, super helpful too. So we wanted to do this Zoom because, well, all three of us worked full-time before, like, when we started this business, and we're able to promote and, retire from our 9 to 5s, and it's been really great. And I think sometimes seeing us work from home gets that before period kind of gets lost in translation, and people seem to think that you have to work from home to be successful in this business. And for me, it was and it's just kind of been coming up more and more and more this past week, and for me, it was such a motivation for me to work this business as much as I could to leave my job. I worked full-time as a title clerk at a car dealership. And to make matters even worse, we had to keep our phones in our drawers. So we weren't even allowed to be on our phones at all at work. And then I was on call for waitressing at a diner on the weekends as well. And I was going to school. So I was super, super busy when I joined this business, and was totally that person that was like, I don't think that I can do this because I don't have the time. And really, you don't need that much time to be successful. So I think that we all three of us have a really cool story to share, and kind of just tips on how we were able to work our business and make it successful so that we could promote and leave those jobs. So yeah, that's kind of my little intro, if you guys want to add anything to it.
Yeah, I think I was more successful. I mean, I think the busier that I am, the more successful days are my days. I feel like when I was building, I was a special ed teacher. So literally I went in at 7 and I got out at 5:30, and we couldn't use our phones either. We were with the kids. So like anytime I would, go in and work my business. But I feel like I was busiest, most successful when I'm busiest, So even now, like when I'm busy and out on the go, I feel like that's when everything like gets all crazy. So yeah, I agree. And Natalie, want to add?
Yeah, well, that's kind of the same thing.
Is she frozen for you too?
Yeah.
I work my full-time job, and then I would go into, after my work or lunchtime, or obviously the weekend was actually the time when I was working my business. I was either scheduling appointments one-on-one, or maybe wrap parties, or maybe some kind of event for Saturday or Sunday. And that's how I started building this business.
Cool. So I think what would probably be best if the three of us just kind of like just gave a few tips on like what we did while we were working, and like what our organization looked like or what our time looked like. And then because I'm like, what I love about us is that we all have such different ways of doing things. And I think it's so cool that all three of our teams can come together, because then, there's really an opportunity for each one of you guys to grab from whoever you resonate the best with. And there's so many cool, different pieces of advice. So I think if we share a story and like how we worked our business a little bit, and like what we did to manage our time and not be completely like all work and then all it works, and like where our family time came and stuff like that, I think that might be really helpful for everybody. So I can start, or if you guys want to start, it doesn't matter to me.
You can start.
Okay. So I worked for a car dealership. I was a title clerk, so I worked in the office. And one of my biggest motivations to leave that job was the girls were really mean, like really mean. And they would pick on me, and they would just be really nasty. Even my boss, it was like super cliquey. I remember when I dyed my hair purple, I was still working there, and one of the girls walked up to me and she was like, well, that looks like S, and then turned around and walked away. Like that's just how they treated me. So I did not want to be there, but we really needed the money, because my husband was working as an exterminator, and in the wintertime here, the work goes down, so his paycheck goes down. So what I would do in the morning, I would get up a little bit early, a little bit earlier than I normally would, and I would make sure that I'd pre-plan my post for the whole day. And back then, you could put your phone on airplane mode and then put all of your posts in Instagram, and then, post them as you went along. So that's what I did, and then I would just copy and paste them into Facebook. So that's what I did. I woke up early and, make a cup of coffee and pre-plan all my posts, because posting is so important, you guys. Like, it's, besides messaging, it's like the most important thing that you need to do every day. And then while I was getting ready for work, do my hair, my makeup and stuff like that, I would do some personal development. I would listen to an Audible book, or I would, watch a YouTube video or something like that. And that's another really, that's probably like the third most important thing, or for some people, the most important thing that you should do every day is personal development. And I would also listen to an Audible book in the car as well as I would drive to work. And then during my work day, if I could, I would, maybe open my drawer and kind of sneak a little bit on my phone. But most of my day was just committed to working, and it drove me crazy. I was so antsy. I lived, breathed, ate at work. So I just wanted so bad for this to work and me leave that job as soon as possible. So what I would do, and I'm not saying that everybody has to do this. It's not a hard and fast rule, but if you are anything like me, where I was really motivated to make a lot of money as quick as I could, I would sneak my phone in my back pocket, and I would go to the bathroom a lot, and then just close the stall door and sit in the bathroom stall for not a long period of time, but maybe 5 minutes. And I would copy and paste my posts that I wanted to do. I might reply to a couple of people, something like that. But one thing I learned, and it's really super important, is take your long breaks to set yourself up for the nighttime. So, instead of looking at all of your notifications throughout the day, where you might forget that someone commented on a rap post, let all those notifications kind of pile up. And then during your lunch break, rather than messaging everybody then or trying to get through it, just pull out a piece of paper and a pen and write down Daniela, message about raps, Natalie, follow up today about hair, skin, and nails, and make a to-do list of what you need to do when you get home. That way you're not forgetting to follow up with someone, and it really kind of just increases your organization, and then you actually have a follow-up list for later, so that you are kind of building on that. So a notebook would be super handy. So then I would get home, I would make dinner, my husband and I would have dinner, have that, one-on-one time, and then I would sit down, and we'd probably, usually we popped a movie in, and I would watch the movie with him, and I'd just be on my phone interacting with people, messaging with people, pull out my list, following up with everybody, just building those relationships. And then if I, had the time, or didn't fall asleep on the couch, because I always fall asleep during movies, I would start working on my posts for the next day. And that's literally that was how my day went. I mean, it seriously, you guys, is that simple. So it doesn't have to be a thing where you're on your phone all day. You just have to manage your time right, and you can get everything done that you need to get done. And it's 3 hours, I think, just really spread out hours. But it was you can work 3 hours a day and be successful in this business. And that's kind of how my day looked. It was that simple. So that's what I did. And I promoted to Double Diamond, got a $30,000 bonus. and was able to retire from that job. And everybody knew that it was coming, because I talked about this business all the time. And that was one of the most important things. And I've said this before. One of the most important things that I did for my mindset and my business skyrocketed is I never said, oh yeah, I'm a title clerk at Hazelton Auto Mall. I said, I'm a successful business owner. I work from home. And as soon as I said that and I got rid of any other titles that I was attached to, I was so motivated to make this job just be my only job. So that's it. That's what I did. And, was able to leave that job that I hated, and it's been great ever since. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That was great. I can go next. I was a special ed teacher. So my days were really long, and I had to bring home work as well. So I had to grade papers and do lesson plans at home. What I did was I had to be at work at 7:30 in the classroom. So I would wake up at 6 and, take my selfie to start the day. And I'd post that as my first post. And then schedule my posts. So there are apps, I think Buffer is an app. But I use Instagram as my, how I built my business, and I still use Instagram, a little bit of Facebook, but we'll get there eventually. So Instagram, there was an app as well that you could post onto it. You scheduled all your posts. So I would do that the night before, but when I woke up, I would do the selfie, and I would say I'm so grateful that I could work my business while working a full-time job. I can make that extra income. I wasn't making extra income yet. I just had started, but I knew I was going to, so I made it known. I always spoke life into my, in the future, which I still do now, because I am ambassador and I'm building a brand new house and I'm going to be making $32,000 a month, all that. But anyway, so I would take that picture. When I was in the classroom, I would post it before and after. But then we couldn't have once the kids got in at 8:00, we couldn't have our phones out. So, I would have my posts ready. One tip that I like, and I still do now, is that on Sundays, I would take a bunch of filler posts. So any personal posts that I had, I would post throughout the week. So this past Sunday, I took a ton. So this whole week I have to put in fillers, or I'm so grateful that I could spend time with my family this weekend and not have to do lesson plans and all of that. So I used to do that as well on Sundays. Take a bunch of pictures, switch your hairstyles, take a bunch of, switch your shirt, and take a bunch of selfies, and then have them that throughout the week. And then I would go out throughout my day. I would have a class. We had classes, 45 minutes. And when the kids went to, their specials, so music or gym, that's when I would message or add. I was the person that went to the bathroom every hour and a half. I didn't even care. I had another teacher with me in my classroom. So I would always be yeah, I'll be right back. So I would put my phone here in my back pocket, and I would message my team. I would message potentials. I would click follow, literally, even if you're in there for 5 minutes, just click follow, or start following people or start interacting with people. And then, so that was throughout the day. Really my focus time was when I got home. So when I got home, I would cook dinner. I would finish any grading that I did. Me and my husband would have dinner. And then from literally 9 to 2 in the morning, I would work my business, work it, schedule posts, message people, interact, add followers, and I would not go to sleep until I finished all of that, and it was really motivating. It was I was oh my God, okay, well I have, testing tomorrow, or I have to do a certain lesson plan, so I can't be messaging all day. So I would do that at night. When people responded, like throughout the day, I would respond back. One thing that like, even today, like when someone answers you back, it's okay to not respond right away. You know, like give them a little bit of, you know, finish what you have to do. And then you can always go back like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, I was doing whatever with my kid, or, you know, like, I mean, no one's going to be like, oh, forget you. You know what I mean? So that was basically my day, but I literally would sleep like 4 hours a night. Like that double diamond I got in 7 months. I got my husband to diamond. So it was, I mean, even now, like I look back and I'm like, wow, like I was more successful then. I mean, I'm still successful, but it's like when you're busy, you're the most successful. Like I'm out like all weekend. I was out. I was getting messages like crazy. So, you know, like Corey said, you can spend that hour or two focused, really focused on your business. You know, just scrolling is not working your business. So it's really easy to look like you're working, but you're not. So like I'll catch myself like, oh, I just spent 45 minutes scrolling. Like, you know, so like just like now setting alarms, like timers. So like an hour, just message, or an hour, just follow. And you can do that when you have a full-time job as well. You know, as long as you're doing those tasks, you're going to be really, really successful. So that's really all I have that I could remember that I did.
Okay, so for me, it was totally different. Like I said, I did not start with building on social media, even though, yes, I still had a Facebook, and but it just was a little bit different. So my day was, I would definitely post something inspirational, something positive in the morning before I go to work. I used to work in an office on a military base, and the posting was not really in my focus, like I said, because I didn't know how to work social media at that time. So I would always have my notebook with leads. I would definitely try to contact, even if it was through Facebook, to someone who told me that they were interested to either try the wrap or they wanted to host a party. And it always helped me to do like a list, like a to-do list in the morning. So that was something that I'm still doing that, and it did help me while I was working, because then I know exactly what can I do between my lunchtime or after work, or whatever. I was also doing personal development. I was listening to YouTube videos all the time. Even when I was working, I was entering a bunch of stuff in the system. A bunch of other girls in my office, they were listening to the music, and I was listening to YouTube to either something to learn how to run this business, or Jim Rohn is one of the inspirational, motivational speaker that I really love to listen to. So, I mean, through the day, I always was listening to something on YouTube. Lunch times, I was using lunch times. Either I would go to my car and just sit there and messaging or phone, doing phone calls, or I would actually schedule an appointment at the Starbucks and I would go run up there. Sometimes I would come late and get in trouble for that, but but I would actually go and meet with potentials in my lunchtime. So yeah, and then after work, I sometimes, if I had, like, let's say on the weekend, I had an event, I had leads, or, something that I really need to be focused, instead of going straight to my house, I would actually stop at the coffee shop and literally focus that 1 hour or whatever, just messaging, because I've noticed that when I get home, I'm just so, like, emotionally drained that I don't, I'm hungry, and it just, I feel like sometimes I would actually fall asleep without even planning on falling to sleep, and then the night is over and then I didn't get anything done for my business. And yeah, so that was something that I've learned for myself. So if any of you guys are also working and able to take even 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour after work, you know, I would always suggest just, even if you stay in the car and just that's where you know, you fully focus and you can message. At that time, I didn't know what the power hour was. Now we all work in power hours. I think that would be something also great to do, just to complete that 1 power hour. And but I did something that I didn't realize that I was doing, kind of a power hour. Sometimes I would come to work earlier because of the parking. It was because of the parking and all the other stuff, but I would come to work probably about 30-45 minutes earlier. So that was another way of me doing something for my business, and that could be totally different things. Like I said, the 4 years ago, the Facebook was different. Like we were using groups more. Well, I mean, you can use that groups too, but just in a different ways. And then also pages. We had actually the business pages, which I'm not recommending to do those at all. Yeah, so that was kind of how I was doing. And then another thing, what I was doing for my business to grow my network, it was networking events. I joined so many different networking groups. So where I would go after work and just meet different people, and that's how also I was able to find some of my loyal customers or distributors through that. And what I also, like, I always say that I didn't work my social media, but in some way I did, because I was still posting and showing what I was doing, and that kind of also got me some of the business. Yes, that's pretty much it. And like I said, on the weekends, that was my main goal, to work. So I always had Saturday mornings. I sometimes would just sit and follow up with people, you know, and I have to say, a lot of times I got, you know, I had 3 or 4 or 5 appointments scheduled for Saturday. I was happy if I would see probably 1 or 2. A lot of them would flake on me because of the Saturday. And then I would try to reschedule with them, you know, during the night after work. But I was just, yeah, it was never the same day. I didn't have like a set schedule for my business. My business was worked around my schedule, around my work. Some days, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit frustrated because I wasn't able to get as much for my business done because of the work, but then I would work even harder on the weekends or the next day to make it kind of like, you know, to make up for it. But yeah, that was the thing. And of course, after, when I realized what was the Instagram, and I was working, I was literally like, if I go to like a store, which I'm doing it right now too, or when I was traveling, I was building my Instagram followers, because we all know that you have to have a bigger network in order to find those customers. If you have 200, 300, 400 people on Instagram, it's not enough to find, you know, to keep signing customers or to complete, you know, your steps to success. So that's something that I realized very early. And then, like I said, every minute I would keep following new people, so I have bigger audience.
I love that. I love your suggestion about, like, if you get home from work and it is too distracting, or you are too tired, or your nights just don't go the way that you are expecting them to go, like, pop off at the coffee shop or the library, or, you know, just sit in your car for a minute, you know, and even if it's for a half an hour before you leave the parking lot, and get some work done. I used to tell the girls, you know, before you walk into your house and you pull into your driveway, like, just take a minute, you know, put on like some meditation music for a second, and like breathe for 5 minutes, and, you know, like Daniela said, speak life into your business for what you want it to be, you know, and then you can walk into your house and you're not, you know, you're calm and you feel good and you feel like you're confident and successful. And the other thing I wanted to add was, for those of you who have spouses that don't quite understand it's what you're doing and you just look like you have your, face stuck in your phone all the time. One thing that's kind of helped quite a few girls is I've said to them, just be open and be honest with them and just say, like, this is something that's really important to me. And I really would like to spend an hour, or 2 hours or a half an hour or whatever. When I get home from work, what do you need from me in order for me to be able to do that? Because sometimes it's just as simple as, could you put your phone down while we have dinner, And sometimes people don't know that it's okay to say those things without you opening up and saying, what do you need from me? This is important to me. What's important to you? And sometimes we get super excited and like so in it, that we kind of have, tunnel vision, and we don't realize that we got to ask the other people around us, like, what's important for you? What do you need from me so I can do this? And eventually bring all of us home and be a whole stay-at-home family.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my husband, we would fight all the time because I was always on my phone. And one thing that I did was when he was around, like when he came home, my phone was not around. So when he fell asleep at 9 or whatever time he fell asleep, that's when I worked. And that's why from 9 to 2 a.m. is when I like really worked my business, because I didn't want to fight with him. But let me tell you, when they see the comma in your check, they stop fighting with you. So that was my motivation, So, I got him to diamond and me to diamond and double diamond, and us combined, we're making an average of, $8,000 a month. So he sees that comma, he's not going to fight with you. You're not going to have any like problems. But yeah, it was really hard in the beginning. But my motivation was him, being negative. Or one time he told me like, oh, you only make $64 an hour, 64 cents an hour. And I'm like, cause my check was like, I don't know, $200, for the month. So I was like, man, I have to prove him wrong. So I did, so I used that as motivation. And that's, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, tell me I can't. So yeah. I'll go and prove you wrong,
Yeah. And that's one of the things, you guys, like, don't let, whether it's a spouse or your mom or your best friend or whatever, don't let that be an excuse, like, why you lost motivation to work. Like,
oh, yeah.
Find that fire in your belly to prove them wrong, so that you can say, see, haha, I told you so. I knew I was going to do it. I knew I was going to be successful. Don't let it go the opposite way. Like, don't let that be an excuse. Even, like you said, like, even if you have to do it after they go to bed, you put the kids to bed, you say goodnight to your husband, and then you kind of like sneak out and, sometimes I would even, sometimes after, like, I couldn't sleep, my husband and I would go to bed and I couldn't sleep, I would just pull the blanket over my head and just kind of work underneath there and, like, come up for air, it's hot underneath there, and then go right back under so I wouldn't wake him up, So, yeah, let that, thankfully my husband has always been super supportive, and he totally sees the vision, and I didn't have to fight like that, and he's, like, totally on board. But I know that's like a common thing, especially when you don't see each other all day long. And you're just really excited about your business and you've got your face stuck in your phone. Like, just make sure that you're taking your family into consideration too. And that's totally okay to do. It is so okay to take a break and, be totally aware and in the moment with your family as well.
Yeah, it's just like Pam Sauter actually said it very well when she said, if you are with kids, then put your phone down, kids, husband, whatever, and focus on your family. And when it's time to work, then you take your phone, and then your family needs to be doing something else, and then you can focus. So if you can separate the family and the work, that's when it shouldn't be no problem or anything like that.
Yeah, and like now, I would much rather have my daughter see me on my phone all day than not see me at all day, so have that perspective that what you're doing is for a purpose. So I would rather her see me you know, with that. And for me, like, she's 3 months old, but she's super smart. And like for her, like, she looks as that the phone as like a positive thing, because I'm always taking pictures of videos and I'm like really happy, you know. So she, anytime she sees me pull my phone out, she like instantly starts to smile. It's really cute. So just like be like, tell them, show them, communicate with them however they communicate. Even at 3 months old, she understands, you know. And I would rather her see me on my phone all day than see someone else all day, you know. So that's kind of like, don't let that, you know, kind of cloud your vision on why we're doing what we're doing and where we're going and what that end goal is. So
does anyone has any questions? No? Okay, I think the only one thing that I want to say, which is a little bit different, is that guys, we still have 24 hours till the free shipping, and it is for the business builder kit as well, which we should be contacting everyone at this point and let them know that, you know, there's so many perks this month to join the business. First of all, is the essential oils. It's $99 set that is coming free. The bonuses that they are still qualified for the go fast bonuses, and now even the, you know, save another, I don't know, $10. I know here in California it's pretty expensive, so it's another $10 probably that they'll save on the shipping. So I think we should be going all get to work and and keep messaging and let our potentials know.
I think the number one thing is, I wanted to add just one more thing, is that we all were consistent when we were building our businesses while we were working. Mm-hmm. If you're not posting about the products or the opportunity, no one is going to know about it, you know? And like, that's one thing that I was always doing, was posting about the products and opportunity. Like, I don't go a day, even when I'm having a bad day, without posting about the business, because there are so many people, you know, I never follow the 3-3 rule. You know, 3 before and afters and 3 business posts. I never did until literally like a week. I've been doing it consistently, and I've been getting so many people that are interested in the business and the, you know, the opportunity, like people that are telling me like, I can't afford it because I have to wait for my next paycheck, you know, and like they're sincere like with it. So if you're not posting consistently about the business, you're missing out on all these people that are watching you on your timeline. This girl messaged me tonight. She never liked a picture, never. And I'm like, where was she? You know, and we've been friends for a long time because I've been seeing her posts, but she's never liked any of my pictures. So I'm like, you know, make sure you're posting about the products, about the opportunity. Be personal. People want to know you. People want to know your life. People want to know you're a real person. You're not just, you know, wanting them to buy, or, you know, you're not selling into them. So I think that was really just a tip, you know, because
that's actually a really good tip that you said, especially that girl like never liked a picture or anything.
Yeah.
It's a little, I mean, it's clearly on topic because we're talking about our business, but a little off topic from the original topic is sometimes you don't get that initial like really fast response right away. Like you said that you've been friends with this girl for so long. You're like, where did I miss her? Like, what happened? How did we not connect before now? That's why you guys have to just keep going. You bought your license, and if that license is good for a whole year, there's a reason why it's good for a whole year. Like, keep going and be consistent, and please post every day, because when you start messaging people and you say, hey, I don't know how much you follow me on Facebook, the first thing they're going to do is go to your timeline and look at your Facebook. And if they have to go back 2 weeks to figure out what the heck you're talking about, then that's too long, guys. So just keep going. And that's a perfect example why you just have to keep on going and keep on posting, because if Daniela hadn't done that, that girl never would have messaged her, and now Daniela would have never been able to help her find financial freedom, you know. So I'm so glad that you brought that up and pointed that out.
Definitely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah, that was great.
Awesome. Cool.
I would say if anybody has any questions,